I would like to start by introducing my audience.
I'm Christina.
Sasha.
Awesome. So, in an era where science, skepticism, and secularism are on the rise, one of the most important questions in human history remains just as relevant today. Does God exist? As a Christian, my goal here today is not to convert you. I'm not here to tell you all that God is real just because I know so in my heart. That would be dishonest to this topic. What I do want to do is persuade you guys to examine the question logically. Is there enough evidence to affirm the existence of a creator outside of faith alone? But why do I feel the need to speak on this today? Well, because the rapid decline of Christianity in America doesn't appear to be driven by any rigorous philosophical debate. According to data collected from the Pew Research Center, Christianity is declining significantly, but the most common reason cited isn't because people disprove the idea of a God. It's because they were turned off by the idea of Christianity by churches, individuals, or certain cultural stigmas. But rejecting a belief just because you don't like some of the people who may subscribe to that belief isn't exactly a sound reason. That would be like denying democracy exists simply because someone you didn't like won an election. But as someone who studied theology, world religions, metaphysics, and philosophy at a university level throughout my time in undergrad, I want to invite you, whatever your beliefs are, to take a few minutes to consider just one of the many logical arguments for God. Not because I want to be right, but because you deserve to seek truth, not based on emotion, but based on reason. So, let me introduce you guys to the cosmological argument for God. Originally developed by Al-Ghazali, a 12th century Muslim philosopher, and refined for the modern minds by Dr. William Lane Craig, the argument is simple in structure, yet powerful in its implications. It consists of three main theorems. The first one being everything that begins to exist has a cause. The second is the universe began to exist at some point. And the third being, therefore, the universe itself must have a cause. So let's unpack this for a little bit. Everything that we know, the stars, planets, animals, you, me, all began to exist at some point that can be quantified on some type of measurement of time. But all of those things came into being because of a root cause, if not one, then many factors. But the Big Bang is widely accepted to be the origin of the universe, and that's not a theological debate. It's a scientific consensus believed by many people in the world. But if the universe began, then that in and of itself proves that it wasn't eternal. So what caused it? Let's approach it from another angle just for 1 second. In nature, everything serves or served some purpose while it was around on this planet, filling some niche for the survival of either itself or something else. Gravity keeps us grounded in the planet spinning. Bees pollinate trees to keep local wildlife and ecosystems alive, and the Earth sits at the perfect distance from the sun to sustain life. It's not too cold and it's not too hot, although some may disagree living here in South Florida. But those just aren't random coincidences. These are laws of nature that science itself accepts. So even if we take it even a step further, evolutionary adaptations themselves aren't random in a chaotic sense. They respond to external stimuli, to the survival needs of the creature that's adapting over time. When we zoom in on that, ecosystems aren't accidental at all. They're the result of millions of independent organisms acting and reacting to outside forces within and outside of their ecosystem alone. So if everything within nature is the result of cause, how is it the entire system came to be without one? That's the contradiction many people tend to overlook. If the universe had a beginning, and every beginning has a cause, then the universe itself must have some type of cause that exists outside of it of itself. That cause would, by definition, need to be timeless, spaceless, even immaterial, not bound by the laws of nature that we as humans come to understand. But that sounds awfully like something we would refer to as a god. Now just close your eyes and bear with me for one moment. Imagine the implications of that fact alone. If the universe was created, then things like morality, meaning, and love are not just survival instincts or social constructs. They're part of a grand design. They're woven into the framework of reality itself. That opens a door to a greater understanding of what it means to be human. Not just a speck of dust in a cold, dark universe, but a being created with some sort of intention towards that grand design. And if that's true, then belief in God isn't a relic of the past, is actually a foundation of reason, of possibly logic in and of itself. To dismiss that possibility outright, not through evidence but through emotion, isn't just a rebellion towards a higher power, it's abandonment of logic in and of itself. So, what now? If you pride yourself on being a thoughtful, evidence-based person, I urge you, don't dismiss the idea of God without examining some of the logic behind it. Read the arguments, study the philosophers, explore the science itself, come to your own conclusion, and don't be influenced by angry ex-believers or people who have a vendetta against religion as a whole. Go to the source and find your own sources. If you've ever dismissed the Bible itself as just a myth, you should consider this. Even secular historians, such as William F. Albright, widely regarded as the father of modern archaeology, confirm that the Bible itself is one of the most historically accurate documents from the ancient world, even when stripped of its miraculous claims. So, while that doesn't prove God's divinity, it does show that the idea of a God has been interwoven throughout the beginning of human history. So, does God exist? I believe reason says yes. And while my faith affirms the reason I subscribe to, I also believe that everything with a beginning must have a cause. And if we want to believe the universe has a beginning, then it too must have had a cause. Therefore, a greater cause in the universe must exist somewhere out there. And if that cause does exist, maybe, just maybe, it's calling us to seek it out. Truth, even divine truth, should never be accepted blindly, but it should never be blindly dismissed either. Let's keep our minds and hearts open. Thank you.